Yellow Jacob. And today is the day, as a Minnesota Vikings fan, I've been waiting for. The 2023 schedule release is upon us. So let's go ahead and break down the matchups here because holy mama, is this an interesting schedule. I know I pretty much say that every year, but this might be the most interesting schedule I've ever seen as a Vikings fan. So let's go ahead and break it down, shall we? So yeah, the first game of the year is against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at home. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Week 1, Tampa Bay Buccaneers at home. Post Tom Brady. So it's going to be an interesting matchup with Baker Mayfield. I mean, they still have Godwin. They still have Evans. They still have a pretty solid defense. I mean, take nothing away from them, but are they going to be the same team as we've seen under the Brady regime? Probably not. But again, like I say, Week 1 home opener against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on September 10th. And then Week 2, we're on Thursday Night Football at the NFC representatives in the Super Bowl. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. On Thursday, September 14th, Thursday Night Football, we travel to the Philadelphia Eagles. Oh boy. Well, like I say, I don't think we need to hash out what happened last time we played them. Ironically enough, also Week 2. Don't know why the schedule makers have us, playing the Eagles Week 2 in Philadelphia every year, or at least the last couple of years. Kind of reminds me of the whole, like when we play the Cardinals like every year for like a 4-year stretch there, as well as just like, there was always some intriguing matchups that made me go, wait, why? What? So, but yeah, I mean, I don't think I need to go down the Phillies roster here. They're loaded. I mean, that defense is nasty. They got a couple of young studs in the draft. They did lose quite a few key pieces, but they did restock, basically. I mean, now they have guys like DeAndre Swift joined them. I mean, Darius Slay is back. They have a young defensive line in like Jalen Carter and those guys, so. And of course, Jalen Hurts is now one of the richest, if not the richest men in America. So yeah, I mean, that's going to be a tough game. And speaking of tough games, Week 3, Sunday, September 24th at noon, we host the LA Chargers. So we get to see our old pal Eric Kendricks again. We get to see Justin Herbert. We get to see Mike Williams. We get to see Keenan Allen. Maybe Austin Eckler. I'm not 100% sure if there's anything that's developed there as far as him being traded out or what's going on there. But yeah, the LA Chargers are another tough team. I mean, they did win, they did make the playoffs last year. And, well, if it wasn't for, I don't know if you want to call it an epic collapse. I don't know if you want to call it an epic comeback. But regardless, though, if it wasn't for them, losing to the Jaguars in like the last couple minutes, who knows? I mean, they could have made some noise. So, yeah, like I say, the Chargers are going to be tough. And that is going to be Week 3, September 24th at noon. And then here's where the schedule gets interesting. I'm noticing a pattern here already. Because Week 4, October 1st, another noon game, we travel to Carolina to take on our old pal Adam Thielen, Bryce Young, Brian Burns, and a plethora of other players that they signed. Because they signed a lot of players. I think probably one of the more notable ones is Miles Sanders. So, granted, will that be enough to carry the Panthers over the edge here? I don't know. But yeah, I mean, like I say, that'll be interesting traveling to Carolina because, well, Adam Thielen. I mean, I don't think we need to go, that's going to be a massive revenge game. Massive revenge game. And like I say, the NFC South is going to be an intriguing division to watch this year because last year, well, I don't think any of the teams really deserve to make the playoffs, but here we go. And this year, ever since Tom Brady retired and all that stuff, I mean, realistically, any of the 4 teams can win the division there. But again, Carolina, in Carolina, week 4, October 1st at noon. And then week 5, we host the Kansas City Chiefs, Sunday, October 8th, and that will be a 3:25 game. Do I have to go over it? Patty Mahomes. I mean, do I have to continue there? Good God. They've won 2 out of the last 3 or 4 Super Bowls for a reason here, kids. I mean, this team is exciting. This team is just go, go, go all day long, every day. I mean, it's going to be a fun matchup to watch. And this would be an intriguing game to go to. Plus, like I say, that falls on a pretty sentimental day for me, being my mom's birthday and all that stuff. But the only thing is with this game is it's probably going to be the more expensive game, or one of the more expensive games for the Vikings this year. So yeah, week 5, we take on the Kansas City Chiefs on October 8th at 3:25. And then week 6, we travel to Chicago. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Week 6, we're at Chicago, Sunday, October 15th at noon. So yeah, have you noticed the pattern here yet? Week 1, home. Week 2, away. Week 3, home. Week 4, away. Week 5, home. Week 6, away. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We're literally doing the every other schedule right now. Home, away, home, away, home, away right now. And that's got to be one of the first times I've seen that. Maybe ever. And like I say, that's just through the first 6 weeks. But like I say, kind of diving into the Chicago matchup here. I mean, it'll be intriguing to see because Soldier Field has always been a tough place for us to play. And like I say, Justin Fields with Darnell Mooney, they have some new running backs. I mean, they went out and got a haul on defense with guys like Tremaine Edmonds joining. I mean, it'll just be interesting to see because I don't expect the Bears to be contending for the division just yet. But, I mean, Chicago basically started swinging for the fences at this point. So, regardless, it should be an entertaining game. So, yeah, like I say, week 6, we travel to Chicago, October 15th at noon. And then week 7, we host the San Francisco 49ers, and that will be Monday Night Football. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We host the San Francisco 49ers on Monday Night Football. A team that everybody and their dog could have seen make the NFC Championship game if it wasn't for Brock Purdy getting hit on the arm, and, well, that basically ended it. So that's going to be another intriguing thing to see because between Trey Lance and Brock Purdy, who knows? I mean, that's going to be interesting. Because Trey Lance has been injured these last couple of years, but Brock Purdy has shown he can do the darn thing. So, and you can't even necessarily rule out Sam Darnold. Granted, I pretty much can, but regardless, though. At this point, don't be surprised if it is Brock Purdy. But, yeah, like I say, Monday Night Football. Kind of been a bugaboo of the Vikings over the last few years, and it doesn't get any easier that we're taking on arguably one of the top teams in the entire NFC, if not the entire NFL. So yeah, like I say, week 7 at home against the San Francisco 49ers on October 23rd at 7:15 Central. And then week 8, we travel to Lambeau Field. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Week 8 at the Packers on October 29th at noon. So yeah, we finally get to see the Jordan Love experiment with guys like Christian Watson, and yet again another year where they revamp their defense. You know, A.J. Dillon is nothing to sneeze at. Aaron Jones is nothing to sneeze at. I mean, it'll be interesting to see what the Packers end up doing. Or how well they do, because I've been hearing some rumors in Packers camp that they could potentially be an 8 or 9 win team. I'm going to hold judgment on that right now, just because, again, we're literally seeing a raw quarterback at this point. I mean, he's had 3 total starts, I think, in his career. 2 or 3 total starts. And this is already his 3rd or 4th season in the league. So, yeah, I mean, it'll be curious to see, though, just how the Packers actually do this year. So, Week 8 at Lambeau, October 29th at noon. So, yeah. It's going to be an interesting first half of the year here. And like I say, did I mention we're literally doing the home road thing, too? Literally every other week is a road game and every other week is a home game. I mean, I still can't get over that. That rarely do you ever see that. You know, typically, for the most part, even during the, maybe not necessarily all the time, but for the most part, you usually get a couple games in a row either on the road or at home. But I will say, though, Week 9, we travel to Atlanta. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Week 9, we're in Atlanta to take on the Falcons on November 5th at noon. And that's going to be another intriguing team with guys like Desmond Ridder, Kyle Pitts, Drake London, Bijan Robinson, Tyler Algier. Cordero might even be on the team. So, who knows? I mean, that offense could be lethal. Defense, I still have to wait and see because they pretty much picked up every, mid to upper mid-level, defensive player. So, I mean, granted, it's not like Atlanta's had great defenses over these last few years, even though I'm pretty sure last time we played Atlanta, I wanted to fire Zimmer right there on the spot because we got our cheeks clapped in. Yikes, that was not a good game. But yeah, so again, Atlanta's going to be another one of those teams in the NFC South that's going to be very, very interesting to watch. And then Week 10 on Sunday, November 12th, at noon, we host the New Orleans Saints. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Marcus Davenport gets to go up against his former team. Cam Jordan comes to town. Derek Carr? Anyone? That could be interesting. Maybe Mike Thomas, if he's not injured by then. Chris Olave is going to be another intriguing player to watch. I mean, who knows what to watch with, with Atlanta and stuff like that. It's just where their head coach be fired by then. Who the hell knows, really? I mean, it's going to be interesting. So, yeah, like I say, Week 10, we host the New Orleans Saints Sunday, November 12th at noon. And then, Sunday Night Football, Week 11, on Sunday, November 19th, we travel to the Mile High, taking on the Denver Broncos and Russell Wilson. So, yeah. That's going to be a very, very interesting matchup to see if Russell Wilson is the Russell Wilson of old, the one who was helping bring the team to Super Bowl runs with Seattle with the Legion of Boom, or if last year was more of what to expect. Whew. And like I say, by now we'll kind of understand just where we're at, where they're at, and all that stuff. So, yeah, like I say, traveling to Denver's never easy. I mean, altitude and all that stuff is very difficult. But, again, going to be another very intriguing matchup that I'm excited to see. So, yeah, Week 11, Sunday Night Football in Denver. And then Week 12, on November 27th, Monday Night Football. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We have a Sunday night in Week 11, and we have a Monday night Week 12 against the Chicago Bears at US Bank Stadium. That will be a 7:15 Central Time matchup. And again, by then, who knows? I mean, the Vikings could be pushing for a top spot in the NFC. We could be fighting for the NFC North. We could be completely out of it. The Bears, like I say, just like with the last matchup I was talking about with the Bears there. It'll be interesting to see what that team looks like, what we look like, if we're going to be even in that spot or whatnot. But the home Bears game is Week 12 on Monday Night Football. And for the first time in a long time, the Minnesota Vikings have a late bye week. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We don't have our bye week this year until Week 13. For me, that seems to be a little late. I mean, I'd prefer to have my bye week around like week 9, week 10 or so. But I mean, having a later bye week is also nice too. Kind of gets you geared up towards, whatever's going on, whether that be, a playoff push or to see what young players step up and who's going to be on the roster in 2024. But yeah, week 13 is our bye week. And then we travel to Las Vegas, week 14, 3:05 Central Standard Time to take on the Raiders. So yeah, that'll be another intriguing matchup because, well, the Raiders on paper should be a bad team, but, they should have been a great team last year, so who the hell knows what to expect. Jimmy Garoppolo's now going to be under center. Devontae Adams, I mean, Vikings fans, I don't think I need to tell you, what that name brings to us. Oh, not fun memories. That's all I got to say there. And, I mean, Josh Jacobs in the backfield. A pretty solid defensive line, a secondary that, well, probably rivals us as far as just ineptitude, but sorry, Pistol. No, but regardless, though, week 14 in Las Vegas against the Raiders should be an interesting game. And then week 15, we travel to Cincinnati. Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, even get to face our old pal, Irv Smith Jr. Yeah, this game should be interesting, and it's going to be probably one of those potential flex games because there's no actual scheduled time just yet. So we'll kind of wait and see, because by this point, we should pretty much have an idea of what to expect because, like I say, I mean, I've watched enough sports, I watch enough football to know that expectations can change and change quickly. All it takes is one play, and your season could go from Super Bowl to, with the first overall pick, the Minnesota Vikings select. So, literally. But yeah, so week 15 in Cincinnati, that'll be very interesting. And again, like I say, time is still to be determined because, well, end of the year games always tend to be flexed a lot, especially, because they want to have the juicy, intriguing playoff matchups moving forward at that point. And then week 16, Christmas Eve at noon, we host the Detroit Lions, everyone's darling pick to come out of the NFC North as champions. But for me, I still got to see the Lions first. I'm one of those guys who, yeah, sure, I love a good underdog story, but I've heard this song and dance so many times with the Lions to know that we really can't count the chickens before they hatch here. Granted, Jared Goff, Amon-Ra St. Brown. They also now have David Montgomery. They have been bulking up on the defensive line. I mean, again, like I say, if they can get that secondary and that defense shored up, this could be for the division. Very easily could be for a division title. So, yeah, but again, I'm going to kind of hold off and wait to see because, well, ironically enough, week 1, the opening game of the 2023 season will be Detroit at Kansas City. Yeah, welcome to the big boy league, Lions. I mean, still kind of interesting, though, that they have the Lions going up against the Chiefs and not like the Bengals or another one of those teams, even though I'm pretty sure the Bengals and the Chiefs play like week 17. Anyway, regardless, though, speaking of week 17, New Year's Eve, we host those greasy, grimy Green Bay Packers New Year's Eve Sunday night football. And yeah, like I say, pretty much the same thing as I said the first time talking about the Packers here. It's going to be interesting to see what they look like at this time, too, because, well, did Jordan Love exceed expectations? Are the Packers more gunning for the top pick? Are they going for a playoff position? I mean, it'll be interesting to see here. But yeah, Sunday Night Football, New Year's Eve, hosting the Green Bay Packers. And finally, Week 18, still time to be determined, we travel to Detroit. So that's right, ladies and gentlemen. This year we end in Detroit. I know, right? It seems like for like the last last 5 out of 6 years, 4 out of 6 years, it was always the Bears it seemed like we ended the year with. At home nonetheless. But now we travel to Detroit. And again, depending on what goes on throughout the season and this, that, and the other thing, this could be a matchup for the NFC North, for seeding in the playoffs. So that's why they still don't have times to be determined and all that stuff, or date or anything like that too, because, well, usually by this point they'll start having Saturday matchups and stuff like that too. So, again, it'll be interesting to see. So, but yeah, that'll pretty much wrap this up. So yeah, I find it interesting that throughout the first 9 weeks, first 8 to 9 weeks, it goes home, road, home, road, home, road. Before we finally have 2 road games back to back, weeks 9 and 8, or 8 and 9, I should say. And then we have another home, and then road, and then home, bye week, road, road, home, home, road. So yeah, it's going to be very interesting here because, again, I still just can't get over that home road, home road, home road first 8 weeks where it's literally every other week you're at home and every other week you're on the road. So, but hey, I mean, we don't travel across, the continent. We don't go to, like, London. We don't go to Germany this year. So that should be a little bit better for the Vikings just because I know those games and stuff like that, that traveling and stuff like that can be a pain. So, but yeah, I mean, I'll kind of do more, like, predictions and stuff like that once we get closer to training camp and stuff like that. But, yeah. And also, we do have, real quick, the preseason schedule. Week 1, we travel to Seattle. Week 2, we host the Titans. And Week 3, we host the Cardinals. So preseason this year is at Seattle to start the year, and then at home against Tennessee and Arizona. So, first time we'll get to see the boys on the field this year will be at Seattle, Week 1 of preseason. So, again, this team is going to be interesting because for the first time in a long time, I honestly have no idea what to expect. I mean, obviously, JJ should still be great. Dalvin Cook is still a question mark on whether or not he's even going to be on the team. So if not, then it's going to be Alexander Madison, Kene Nwangu, and maybe Ty Chandler. And then, of course, Jordan Addison on the outside of Justin Jefferson. Or will Jordan Addison be more of our slot guy? KJ Osborne. I mean, I'd like to see more Jalen Naylor, too. So, and our defense with Brian Flores, I mean, we didn't get a ton of, like, big pieces, per se, big name pieces, but good God, hopefully our defense can't be much worse than last year. That's all I got to say there. But then again, I also thought that going into last year, too. But, again, Brian Flores' defensive style is, I think, more what Vikings fans want and what Kevin O'Connell wants. We adjust to whatever's going on. Like, we could be 3-4, we could be a fluid 4-3, this, that, and the other thing. And, yeah, it's been interesting. Let's just put it that way. So, but, yeah, that'll pretty much wrap up this 2023 schedule reveal. Thoughts and opinions, basically. So, bring on training camp, bring on mandatory minicamps, and bring on the preseason. So, until we meet again, this is Jacob. Have a good day.